welcome to another episode of Speak Geek, your favorite place for video games, movies, TV shows, wrestling, and other cool geek pop culture stuff. I'm your host, Tony Shea, and with me, as always, Mr. Josh.
Hey, yo. What up, everybody?
It's really hard for me. It's really hard for me to not start these episodes with the game show host voice, and I don't know why I do it. I just do.
It's hard for me to not want to be Scott Hall. Hey, yo. Every time we start, that's what I want to do.
You know, I do that at work a lot in meetings. I always go, hey, yo. And I just get like blank responses. I was like, yeah, I realize I'm in a meeting with like Ian and Brian and Cheryl. No one knows who Razor Ramon is.
Dude, I walked over to Safeway this morning, rocking my NWO shirt. I had a bunch of people looking at it, and they were kind of nodding their head. I'm like, yeah, you're right. We're back, baby. Waiting for Hogan to get that belt and make that third run.
When I went to Raw a couple years ago, I wore my Monday Night Jericho shirt, and it was crazy how many people stopped me and they're like, dude, nice shirt.
Damn right. Dude, it's crazy to think that, like, you know, we're grown adults and we go to wrestling shows and we wear wrestling t-shirts and take belts and stuff, and it's one of the only things you can do that to. Like, I feel like that's one of the only, like, you can go to a football game and wear a football jersey, but wrestling is the only thing that you go and you take massive accessories with you.
Yeah,
like you go full.
You know, I think of it this way, and it's the same thing when people are like, "Oh, you're 40 and you still play video games or read comics." It's like, you know what? The alternative, if you really think about it, isn't much better. I don't think being the 40-year-old guy trolling dance clubs is any better than me sitting at home reading a fucking comic.
No, absolutely. At this age, who the fuck cares, man? Like, here's what we grew up playing video games, and now we're just old enough to buy all the stuff that we liked before. So why the fuck does anybody care? Like, I'm 36, and I probably have spent more money on Legos than I have on a car. Like, I mean, gonna be real with you, and that's what I like. We're grown-ass kids, man. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
We are absolutely grown-ass kids. And speaking of grown-ass kids, let's talk about Resident Evil 8, because that came out on Friday, and we've been super looking forward to this. I mean, looks like most of the gaming world has, and judging by the reviews, people seem to really fucking like it.
Yes, dude, man. So I played when they released the first demo like a couple months ago, like the
maiden one.
Yeah, the maid, just like the visual aspects of it. I was blown away. I was like, man, this is so cool. I did not touch any of the other demos that came out. Which I'm glad
I shouldn't have either, because
apparently it was like the whole first level of the game, which I'm glad I didn't. But dude, Resident Evil 8 it's a different beast. It feels like they took Resident Evil and rebuilt it from the ground up.
They did. I mean, it's like they started that process with 7, which I was really happy to see, because 6 became a straight up action game, and I was really turned off by it.
Right. And same with 5. 5 was like that too.
Yeah, the one in Africa,
and it had like the over the shoulder angle and stuff, which I wasn't a fan of. But see, even to me, Resident Evil 8 feels different and better and more player friendly than Resident Evil 7 did.
It's a lot easier. I've actually seen that a lot online. The puzzles are easier, the gameplay is easier, which is fine with me. I like taking my time. I like being immersed in it. And
yes,
I wanted to go back a little bit and say the whole aura of Resident Evil 7 and 8 reminds me so much more of the Silent Hill series than Resident Evil.
It kind of reminds
just that slow dread that sometimes is there, sometimes is not there, but and then the puzzles and everything. It reminds me much more of a Silent Hill game.
Yeah, with Resident Evil 7 and more so 8, it kind of reminds me of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre with like the cannibal family and stuff like that.
Yeah, 7 for sure.
Yes,
yeah.
And then this one with the lichens and stuff and keeping like the characteristics and giving these like overarching stories. I dig it, man. Like it's really dope. And yeah, I agree with you. It feels different. I was playing it last night, and there were moments where I kind of felt more like a first person fucking Uncharted in some ways, because like there's more action, there's more fire, there's more stuff to do. You have to be a little faster. You're solving these puzzles. You got to like jump up and climb up on things, man. It's fun. It is way more fun.
How
than
far
I
have you gotten?
I am in the ladies' castle, and opened up a couple doors, and gotten pretty far.
Have you
not
done
too
the
far.
spike traps yet?
Yeah, where that guy puts you through that fucking, where you drop down the tunnel and you're in the garbage and the things coming at you.
Yeah, you gotta like run through that dungeon or whatever.
Yeah, dude, that shit was so much fun. And it's beautiful, it's smooth, it just looks good. I just did the part where I'm walking through the jail cells.
Oh, so you've already gotten to the part where the daughters get you?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm gonna say this again, and I know a lot of people, especially online, have said this. I've never really been into goth chicks. That's just not my thing. And maybe it's just because I've been single since 2018, but there's something about that family that really gets me going. They were like stringing me up with the fucking spikes in my hands, you know, and hanging up, and I was like, oh shit. And I'm like, God damn, do whatever the hell you want to me.
Well, dude, man, at that part when it happened, I did not realize how tall that lady was until
she's like 9 feet tall,
right,
I think they said.
You're strung up, then she walks out the door and she ducked down, and I was like, oh my God, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Woo! Dude, it's such a good game, and to me, this is like one of the first like true next gen games. You know, that's cross gen that they built.
It's so
for.
gorgeous.
It is, man. They built it for the PS5.
You know what I hate though? I have to interrupt. You know what I fucking hate about it is this game is so ripe for photo mode.
Yes.
But they force you to put that goddamn watermark on every single picture you take, which is dumb. Why? No other game slaps a watermark on there that you can't remove. I mean, I understand I could pop it into Photoshop and remove it, but who the hell wants to do that?
So my question is that only on cutscenes or is that with all the pictures?
Anything.
Okay, I've only paused a couple of
anything because
cutscenes.
I've taken pictures of cutscenes of gameplay or whatever.
Yeah.
I tried to take a picture of my hand, you know, after the spikes get torn out. But when you raise your hand and then pause and then go into photo mode, it doesn't actually have the hands in there, so you can't even do that. So it's a really restrictive photo mode, and you're stuck with the watermark, and I fucking hate it. I mean, they already pulled the time demo shit, and now they do this. So it's a small complaint for an otherwise brilliant game, but like I said, this game is so perfect for photo mode, and it just ruins it with a watermark on there.
Yeah, but I also, too, I mean, I don't understand why they're doing the watermark, but I can see it from a company, from their perspective, being like, look, man, we have these developers who worked a hard amount of time on this stuff. Let's just give credit where credit is due and not have people trying to
no,
put
I
these
get
things
that,
out there,
but
so.
what are they afraid of people doing? Taking the screenshot, going on Twitter and saying, look what I made? No one's doing that.
No.
They're just showing pictures of Resident Evil 8.
Absolutely, but over the past couple months, you have seen a lot of people on Twitter calling out other people for stealing content, stealing videos, all that kind of stuff, and maybe they're just like, look, man, let's just get ahead, let's put a watermark. You're gonna bitch about it, bitch. You know how to remove it.
Yeah. Whatever. Like I said, it's you know, who cares? It's a small niggle. But otherwise, brilliant game. My God, it's so fucking gorgeous, and I love. And you know, we were talking about this and laughing about this yesterday. You know how ray tracing, but it works.
Right, dude,
it works
does.
so well in this game, and not just the reflections, the lighting, the shadows, and everything. And I was talking to our mutual coworker / friend Avery the other day. And her boyfriend only has a PS4, and I was like, well, it's it's for PS4 as well. But then I was thinking, I was like, it's not going to be the same experience because the core gameplay is going to be exactly the same, but so much of it is the immersion, the environment. You know, when you round the corner and a fucking chandelier's lighting plays off the walls and you see the shadows behind you and stuff. You're not going to get that in the PS4 version.
Well, no, and this is also too something that I'm glad we're bringing up about this is with the PS5 version, you're getting the adaptive triggers, which I texted you about last night. And there, that to me, that's where PlayStation I think is just going to keep moving just farther and farther ahead of Xbox because, like, no bullshit, man. I was just sitting there and I gave the controller to my wife last night and I was switching between the knife, the pistol, and the shotgun. And everything feels different. And it's just that little bit of immersion right there you're not going to get with the PS4. You're not going to get with the PS4
Especially that shotgun, dude.
Dude, it is. It's so dope how well just the adaptive triggers are. And it's so sick. And the sound, I think, with this game, this is a game that needs to be played either with headphones or complete surround sound.
Because which you have one and I have one.
Right, and wearing my headphones, dude, I'm sitting there and I'm going through these tunnels, and you can hear water dropping behind you and chains to the right of you and grunts. It's so well done where we are that I'm blown away that we're still in the first 7-8 months of next gen, and this is where we're already at. It's fucking awesome. It's a must play. It's a must have. Great. Are you playing
with the 3D sound?
Yes, absolutely.
How's that? I mean, I can only imagine it's incredible.
3D sound with the PlayStation is phenomenal. It only works with headphones, but it works with any pair of headphones. So it is just plug in. Right. Yeah, dude, it's so nice, and it makes that game playing experience, especially with like a Resident Evil or even like a Madden game, anything like that. It makes it better because you're not just hearing sound coming from you. You can hear it everywhere, so you can adjust better. You can whip to the right. It's just, dude, it's amazing. Can you
imagine what the next WWE game is going to sound like?
Hopefully not garbage.
Assuming they don't fuck it up.
Yeah, that's a big assumption there.
Yeah.
But dude, I mean, it's fantastic. Resident Evil 8 is a must play. It's a must buy. You've got to get it.
Yep.
It's a fucking blast, dude. It's fun. The Lycans look dope. The story's good. They're kind of reinventing their story, and they're telling more stories in the Resident Evil universe, and I think that it's really cool.
I legit was like, oh shit, and jumped out of my seat when you're in the jail, like the underground dungeon jail part, and those fucking things start crawling through the holes in the wall.
It scared the shit out of me, dude.
I was like, what the fuck?
Dude, it's bananas, bro. But it's such a good game, man. I big recommend for everybody. Please pick it up, check it out. It's great.
Yeah, for sure. Now, let's move on to the next piece of news. So there have been rumors a lot that The Last of Us is going to get a PS5 remake in the same vein that Spider-Man got a PS5 remake. So not just the 4K skin slapped on and a 60 FPS unlock and call it a day. I mean, we're talking, rebuilding from the ground up for PS5.
Absolutely.
Now, this is still just a rumor. Sony and Naughty Dog haven't, confirmed anything yet, so we're not. So just take everything we say with a grain of salt. But according to the website Game Reactor, the Last of Us remake is a thing. They're working on it. And it's, like I said earlier, not just going to be a basic boost to the resolution. I mean, we're talking, they're going to actually, adaptive triggers, obviously a 4K 60 FPS, possibly new story elements. But, I'm kind of on that one. I'm not really...
I wonder if
the story is what makes... The Last of Us. You can't really fuck with that. Yeah,
I wonder if they're just going to take the DLC content and put it in there as like one just long story kind of like they did that with Horizon, I heard, with like their DLC. It's like once you play through, it's not like it's just part of the game now, and I wonder if that's what they're going to do with this.
I mean, that'd be great and everything. Now, The Last of Us, one of the most critically acclaimed games of all time. What do you think about them remaking this for PS5?
I think
Spider-Man.
I think this is fantastic. It's a great idea because again, The Last of Us to me is one of those games that's a once a generation kind of game. Like it's hard to explain where a video game can take you on a journey from crying to laughter to fully invested to just everything, where these characters aren't just video game characters, they become part of pop culture. They become part of
how many games have been so acclaimed for just one scene where you do nothing but look at giraffes?
Right. Like it's bananas, and it goes to show, and this is where I have my huge fucking complaint that'll take me all the way in full circles here, but it just goes to show that when you put time, dedication, and something into a game, you can put out a good product that people are going to love for time and time and time and time and time. Unlike Cyberpunk, you fucking pricks. But this just goes to show that when you invest time and money, you can put out a product that is going to carry on, for decades.
What's crazy is CD Projekt Red did invest time and money. They just tripped over their own dicks somehow.
Right, and that's where it goes to show. And remember, when The Last of Us 2 came out, all the toxic fans, the bullshit about Druckmann, all the stuff that was coming out, pushed aside.
That's just America.
Right, and it was just pushed aside because they released a great game. And everybody's problem with The Last of Us 2 was the whole transgender shit that they had in there, and everybody was pissed off about it. But what The Last of Us 2 did is it gave us two complete fucking stories in one video game.
Yeah.
And
our coworker Kabe, I was in the middle of work the other day, and he messaged me on Teams, and he goes, "Bro, I just finished Last of Us 2, hands down, greatest game I've ever played."
Dude, and that's just what goes to show when you take the time and the effort to make it better. And I think that the following that they have with The Last of Us, that it doesn't need to just be, oh, here's a new 4K skin and we're going to put it out. It needs to be redone from the ground up because there's a generation of gamers who have never experienced The Last of Us. And they need to experience it. If you're going to experience it, do it the same way we did, where you're blown away in the first 30 minutes where you have to carry your dead daughter's body. You know what I mean? Like, that's what you need to be a part of.
We've said this before. After I had kids and I replayed The Last of Us, that hit me a million times harder.
100%.
Like 100%. To the point where I'm like, I don't really ever want to see this again.
Right, and it's just the craziest opening, and I think that's something that needs to be experienced, especially with the TV show coming out and all that kind of stuff. Blah blah blah. This needs to come out first because I do not want, and this is a fear, that people are going to get a taste in their mouth of what The Last of Us is based off of the TV show, not the game, and that's what's going to bother me. It's the same with books and movies and blah 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 blah. You know, the Harry Potter
That's
books
exactly what happened to the Marvel universe.
Harry Potter. It happened with Lord of the Rings. It happened with all this, and then you're stuck in these two worlds where you have the book and the movie, and I don't want us to be into the game and the movie because we get that so much. They're gonna fuck it up with Uncharted because honestly, I don't want to see Mark Wahlberg with the mustaches solely. I don't give a fuck about a young Nathan Drake. Sorry, Tom Holland, just don't care. They're gonna fuck it up. Same thing he did with the Prince of Persia. Same thing he did with the Tomb Raider things. That's just me.
Yeah, and Assassin's Creed.
Yes,
Hitman, all the shitty movies.
So I think that them doing this is going to be their way to be like, yeah, man, we're going to get ahead of this because Naughty Dog spent time to make this, and it needs to be put out there. I mean, it's a great game. Do it, dude. Fucking 100% do it.
Yep, agreed. And as silly as it sounds, I mean, let's see, I already bought the original Last of Us. I bought the Last of Us remastered when the PS4 came out. Yep. And I guarantee you I'm going to drop for this when it comes out.
Fucking right. I have so many different copies of games that I've purchased because they've been remastered and redone and everything. I mean, I have fucking 2 copies of Spider-Man. Like, I mean, come on.
Yeah. So,
but it's dope because what we're seeing is like these games are continuing, and this kind of will take us into our next thing as well. But I am curious, and this is what I was going to ask you. Do you think that The Last of Us is something that they could try to make and put on Xbox as well?
100% no.
Because PlayStation exclusives are crossing over.
I know, but The Last of Us is the closest thing to a system seller in the last couple of generations. Because, back in the day, you wanted to play Mario, you bought a Nintendo. Right. You wanted to play, I don't know, Metal Gear Solid or GoldenEye. You had to buy the specific systems. We had system-selling games.
Yeah,
That's not so much a thing anymore.
Well,
The Last of Us is the closest thing I've seen to a system seller, and I don't think PlayStation will let that go because they have to hang on to stuff like this because they're not going the Game Pass route that we know of. Yeah,
but what system was Tomb Raider started on?
This is true. I mean, maybe in 10, 20 years.
I have the Crash Bandicoot trilogy on my Xbox.
Me too.
So it's like, at what point do you take this kind of game where you're like, look, man, the TV show's coming out. This isn't like a PlayStation thing. This is everybody likes this. Because to me,
I think there's one thing that's going to keep this from happening, and I'm going to use the Crash Bandicoot and Tomb Raider thing as an example.
Do it.
Okay, those are developed by not Sony Studios.
True. But what about the show 21? I mean,
you have Crash Bandicoot developed by, I forgot who their original developer was. Maybe the original developer was... No, it was Naughty Dog.
It was Naughty Dog, and then there's a different...
It was Naughty Dog, and then you have Tomb Raider as developed by Square Enix. I mean, these were, I don't know. You're right. I mean, because Last of Us is Naughty Dog too, so I don't know.
But then
I still think no, but who knows?
But then look at the show 21. That's where I'm at too. Like, I mean, is that kind of a sample? Because how many people just buy the show 21 and play sports games?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, the world's different. I just think in the next 5 years, we're going to see a bigger crossover because, you got The Last of Us. You're going to want people to watch the show and everything. Man, put the game out. Because right now you got console sellers, you've got Ratchet and Clank, you've got Uncharted, you've got Spider-Man, you've got these games that are console sellers that are PlayStation's exclusive. So maybe you could do, because coming up next on our next thing, Sunset Overdrive.
Well, and even taking a step back from that, if 5 years ago you told me that MLB The Show was going to show up on Game Pass, I would have ripped my nuts off.
Ew. But because it never would have happened.
But so I mean, and here we are.
Well, and again, that's like with this next, with Sunset Overdrive, which is going to be our next topic, which is crazy.
It's insane that I'm seeing this as a title at all. Now, a lot of people have guessed it since Insomniac became a first party studio to Sony. I mean, so they kind of guessed that. I guess Sunset Overdrive is either gonna, they're gonna release it for the PlayStation consoles, or we're gonna get a sequel that's a first party exclusive. So we don't know to what degree this piece of news is, but we did get confirmation that Sony registered the trademark for Sunset Overdrive. Mm-hmm. Now, does that mean we're going to get a Sunset Overdrive release on PS5? Does that mean we're going to get a remastered edition of Sunset Overdrive? Does that mean the sequel is going to be a first party for PS consoles? We don't know, but I'll tell you this. I remember having the OG Xbox One, and Sunset Overdrive was one of the first games that completely blew my mind. Yep. And you have to remember this, the OG Xbox One capped out at 900p.
Yeah.
And Sunset Overdrive still looked that good and played that well.
I just put in Sunset Overdrive not that long ago in my Series X, and it still looks good. Still plays good.
Isn't that game a fucking blast? Just this completely batshit crazy, colors everywhere, freaking surfing on power lines.
Well, see, and that's what leads me more to believe that we're going to start seeing like another crossover thing here. I mean, it makes sense. Because Sunset Overdrive.
What do you think is going to come out of this news? Do you think we're going to get a release of the original game in some form, whether it's a remake or just a release? Do you think the sequel's going to be first party?
I think if I was them, I would fix this. I would re-release it out as a remaster, and I would make it cross-platform so you can play multiplayer on Xbox and PlayStation.
Yeah, I mean, it already looks great at 900p, and I believe it was 30 FPS. Don't quote me on that. But can you imagine a 4K HDR, 60 FPS, 120 FPS release of that game?
Right, fucking fantastic. And I hope they do it. And that's where I'm starting to think that we're going to see more of these cross-platform games coming forward, because we've reached the era where there's no reason, unless there's nothing specific. God damn it. Like we had said before, Xbox is fucking Netflix and PlayStation is everything else. And they're going to cross over. It's just going to happen eventually. It's a matter of what studios for what money. Because there's only going to be so long that you can keep dividing your fan base, in thirds with Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox, where you're going to want to have cross-platform. There's no reason I shouldn't be able to pick up PGA Tour 2K21 on my Xbox and play with somebody on PlayStation. There's just no way you should be able to do that. And I think that's what we're going to start seeing more with these studios that are doing this, because what's the point? The Xbox and the PlayStation basically at this point play and run the exact same way. There's not much differences with the hardware and the software where they shouldn't be able to link up and play. And I think that's what we're going to see. And again, I would love to see The Last of Us on an Xbox Series X with 120 frame rate, just fucking beautiful. And I'd love to see it on the PS5. Like, I mean, I don't think that they can ever go wrong with this, because we've reached a point now where, dude, we're going to buy it because we want to play it because it's fun and it looks good. And if you look at a lot of the great games that we've played over the past 5-6 years, a lot of them are remasters. They're redone. They're re-releases. I mean, some of the biggest games that have been on PS5.
It's been that generation of remasters.
Right, and that's where we are now. So, I think that we're going to start seeing more cross-platform. So I hope that we get Sunset Overdrive on PlayStation, and I hope that we get The Last of Us on Xbox, because why the fuck not?
How do we not have a GoldenEye remake? I know one was supposed to come out for the 360, and then that got shelved, and then we got some leaked footage of it, and it looked great. Mm-hmm. How is that not a thing? Especially now that we're in the era of the online battle royales like, Warzone and Fortnite and all that shit. I mean, let's not forget, back in the day, the only way you were playing multiplayer with GoldenEye was to fucking grab 4 friends.
Right.
Put it on your little shitty CRT TV, divided into 4 quadrants, and you couldn't stare at your other friend's part of the screen and all that shit.
Right.
I mean, we've never played it online before.
No, and I think that right there is the kind of game that we need. Like, I think that would be perfect. You don't even have to do a ton with the graphics. Literally, Nintendo can do it. There's things that will happen, and I think that we're gonna get there. But like you said before, there are so many first-person shooter, party, all that kind of stuff games that something like GoldenEye could just get lost in the shuffle. And I think
it won't, though, because it's fucking GoldenEye.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's the granddaddy of first-person shooters.
It's true. I agree with you. I would just be worried about what they're going to put out and how it's going to be.
Yeah, exactly. And plus, you have all these 12-years going Fortnite, so who knows?
This is stupid. So you know how people are.
So this next piece of news kind of caught me off guard, because when the EA, what was it, EA Play? EA Pass or whatever, got rolled into Game Pass, getting Jedi Fallen Order was kind of a big deal. And they did release an optimization patch where you could play it at 4K 60, or I believe 4K 60. Maybe it's a dynamic resolution at 60, but whatever. And it looks great and it looks smooth, and it's, it's a fantastic game and everything. But now we're getting confirmation that Jedi Fallen Order will be getting an official next-gen upgrade, which is... It's funny because, you don't usually see optimization patch and then another optimization patch.
Right, unless you're Cyberpunk 2077.
Unless you're fucking Cyberpunk, I was just about to say. You read my fucking mind. But, what do you think of that? I mean, you've played it, but you never finished it, right? I remember. Right,
I'm at the part where, I just did the, what the part was it? Where I go to, my old master, and, I do the lightsaber battle, but I don't fight him, and he stops right before me.
Right. Got it.
Yeah, so that's as far as I've got. I love the game. I think it's great. I love the character. I was hooked on it when it first came out, and it's fantastic.
Yep.
I just never...
I bought Cal's fucking lightsaber, so I clearly like the game.
I never went back to it with the next gen because I felt like this is a game that needs a next gen patch for me to want to get back into it.
Yeah.
Especially when you can sit down and play like Doom and just how well it looks. So So this to me is going to want to take me back, and I'm going to want to replay it because it was such a good game.
Yes.
I have no problem replaying it. And I've been holding off on doing Avengers and I held off on like redoing God of War and stuff like that until I can take full advantage of what I bought and what I have, because I can come out and take my PS Pro and still play all these games. They're going to look fucking amazing. So this to me is what they need, because I love what we have, and as soon as we get more games like this, that's fantastic. And I think what's cool about this is that it's also coming to PS5. Which
exactly. So, and I would imagine when they say next gen upgrade, I assume they mean at the very least 4K 60. Because now that I'm thinking about it, yes, the optimization patch I believe was a dynamic resolution at 60. So having a locked 4K 60 would be absolutely great. And you know, the thing about this game is I don't like Soulsborne games. Just the same reason why I don't like roguelikes. I just don't have the fucking time or patience anymore. I'm fucking old. I don't like games where dying is part of the gameplay loop.
Absolutely.
But, you know, this is probably the best Soul-style game I've played, just because it's a lot more forgiving, and, you know, it's fucking Star Wars.
Right, and it tells a good story that brings you in, and that's something else I liked about it, too. And I find that you don't see that a lot. And it's funny, because we were talking about, like, you were saying, like, rogue games and stuff like that were part of dying, is it? And just like, I was playing on my Switch the other day, I was playing Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. Dude, is Donkey Kong, like, one of the original roguelike games? Because, dude, the whole point of that fucking game is to die 100 times so you can get past the fucking level.
And Tropical Freeze is, I'm glad you brought that up. That's one of the hardest fucking games I've ever played.
No shit, I've had that game.
It is so hard.
I had it on the Wii U, and I have it on the Switch, and I still haven't beaten it. Like, I mean, fuck this game, dude.
Yeah. On the topic of roguelikes, you've seen all the praise for Returnal and everything, right?
I have, and big ups to Returnal.
It looks amazing. I just still can't justify $70 for a roguelike. I just can't.
Nope. I can't either.
Especially now that we're hearing you can barely even save.
Dude, and again, there's issues, and I think this falls back to my bitching and complaining. We continuously give developers chances and chances and chances and chances and chances, and it's like, dude, how long have you guys been working on this game, and you're releasing a game that you're having save issues? It's like, come on, bro, because I have heard on Twitter a lot of people who have put time in this game and lost their saves. And that's unacceptable for people who are investing money on this game. And I know that there is a lot in these games, and there is so much to be happy for. But when I play a game, I look for fucking like 3 basics. How well does it play and does it look? How well is the story, and how often can I save? Am I going to have to play for 20 minutes, die, and then come back and play again for another 20 fucking minutes?
Yeah.
And if I can't do that, then your game is fucking flawed, and I don't care. So it frustrates me that that's where we're at with these next gen games with Returnal, which we were excited about last year at the showcase, and it's still like, really?
You know, it's funny. I know in some games having very limited save opportunities is part of the gameplay. I get it. Resident Evil VIII is an example. You can only save when you get to the typewriters. I get it. You know, I don't like it, but I get it. But it's weird to me that we're in the year 2021. We're in this 8th or 9th or 10th generation of consoles, whatever you want to call it. And I can't play fucking Dragon Quest 11 and save anywhere. And that's bullshit to me.
But here's what's crazy about that is that in 2019, I went out and bought an NES Classic, and I can pause Super Mario 3 and fucking save it wherever I want and go back and play.
Yeah, we can do that on the Switch too with the NES emulator thing.
But God, dude.
Yeah.
Excuse me, it's super dusty.
You're right there, man.
Yeah, it's like super dry outside. You know, it's been like droughty and windy, so.
I told you just the other day, my sinus has been fucking killing me. I've been using a neti pot almost every day just to clear my shit out. I mean, my God.
Dude, Sam and my wife, like the allergies are just tearing us up. So, you know, I do my I do my stuff out in the garage, and I kind of got the door open with the breeze coming, but this dust and pollen keeps coming in. It's just drying me out. So, anyways, though, dude, I like this. And this, again, as I think that we're going to see more of this coming out. I think that Star Wars, for instance, when they made this game, they had every single intention of releasing it on the Series X and the PS5. They had already started
it was right in that time frame. Yeah.
Absolutely. So this stuff that they're doing is stuff that I'm like, okay, they released a game, it came out there, was pretty good, now they're just making it better. And you see a game like Cyberpunk, which is trying to do that. Instead, they're they're over promising and under delivering. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order didn't do that. They released this game that was great. It had quirks. You fix it, and now we have this game that's about to be almost a perfect next gen release. Because they took the time to fix it, and that's the way it should be with some of these games. And that's where I get confused with Returnal, because our fucking Call of Duty, or when these games came out that had these issues, because you've known about this for a long time and you've worked with these systems, so how come you're not ready? And that's where, look at the last, and that's where I'll go back to The Last of Us and The Last of Us 2. Those games came out, and fucking Naughty Dog didn't have to release 1.5 million patches to fix The Last of Us 2 or any of this stuff. And the game got pushed out and released early because of toxic fandom and leaks online. Yet, that's it. The game came out, and that was it. The game came out, it's like, fuck, it was a perfect game. Like, there wasn't any issues. So why can't these other games that are delaying can't get the fucking simple basics right? And again, I know that making a game is hard, and I sound like a spoiled fan and everything else, but for me to take my hard-earned money and invest it into a game, you've got to give me more. Because if I go out to a restaurant and I drop $70 on a meal and it comes to me and it's garbage, I'm going to send it back until I get what the fuck I want. And unfortunately, I can't do that when I spend $70 on these shitty-ass games. I just sit here and wait for them to fucking fix them, and it's frustrating, because what should be going on is what Jedi Fallen Order is doing. It should be, hey man, look, we already did this game and we fixed the quirks, now we're just making it better so everybody else can enjoy it. Not, hey, we know
Jedi Fallen Order, Division, fucking God of War.
Right. Like, I mean, so
Days Gone. Well, Days Gone launched with its fair share of issues, actually. They had to patch it like 1 billion times.
And again, everything will have that, but the game should not release broken where you can't play it without having it be patched. And that's just what I can't stand. Like, and again,
you know what game I really want a patch for? Just, you know what? Don't fucking touch anything. Just give me 60 FPS. I want Death Stranding to get.
Oh my god,
60,
me
because
dude.
That game is so fucking weird and so fucking boring, but it's one of those games where I can sink hours into, because for all intents and purposes, it's a goddamn walking simulator.
Oh, it is, dude.
But it's gorgeous.
Dude, I had such high hopes for that game, and then I got it, like, pre-ordered it, put it in, and I was like, wait, so I just gotta kind of walk and not fall over? The fuck?
Walk around, rock a baby every now and then.
It's very weird. Very weird. It's just kind of like...
It's very weird and 100% on brand for Kojima.
Yep.
But I want that to be patched to 60, because... You know, nothing's wrong with it at 30. It's actually a pretty steady 30, and it's playable, you know, so fine. It's just, you know, like we said before, I'm fucking spoiled. I want 60.
Dude, you know what? We all should have learned a lesson from Death Stranding, because, okay, so Death Stranding had the game that was coming out, and nobody knew much about it, but they attached Norman Reedus to it, and all of a sudden it got this hype from Norman Reedus and everything else, and the game came out, and it's like, oh, what the fuck is this? Gee, I wonder what recent game just did that with a huge kind of uber celebrity like Keanu Reeves. Oh my god. What the fuck? And I feel like maybe we should have learned from the first one, because...
Yeah, but Death Stranding, for the most part, worked. It was just a weird fucking game.
It was, and it was Hideo Kojima, right, who did the game?
Yeah.
It's if you know his games, you know what you're getting into when you get it. So you know, you just kind of know what to expect. But again, though, Death Stranding didn't come out, and it wasn't like it was super broken. It was just, here you go, enjoy.
Did I tell you when about the time I met Kojima?
Mm-mm.
And I use the term met Kojima very loosely. I went to PAX in 2014? I don't remember what year, but it was the year that Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes was first released. And I went as, you know, part of the press. I went to the showcase where Kojima announced it and everything. And then at the end of that announcement, he goes, well, you know, I think for the rest of the day, I'm just going to hang out on the show floor. And everybody was super excited, and I fucking bumped into him on the show floor. And I just said, hey, nice to meet you. I'm a big fan. He said, oh, thank you. And then that was the end of that.
Really?
But I got to smell him.
Did I tell you about the time I almost killed Carlos Santana in the Portland airport?
You sure did, and that's a way better story, because you almost killed Carlos Santana.
I did, but I'll never forget the way he smelled. And he smelled amazing. And you just said, I was like, man, Carlos Santana, getting off an airplane. I was like, man, you... Like, I don't know, man. I bumped into him, and I felt like everything was going to be okay. I don't know how to explain that.
Oh, man. Would you say he smelled smooth?
He smelled so smooth.
Oh, man. Fucking dad jokes. Let's move on, shall we?
Let's do it. Let's get to the fun movie stuff, huh?
Now, I don't really know what to make of this. You watched the Netflix Daredevil, right?
I did.
Or at least enough of it to know the character of Karen Page.
Yes.
who's so fucking gorgeous because I just love me some. Anyways, love me some Deborah Ann Woll. But so she posted on her Instagram a picture of Daredevil, but it was the movie poster for the Ben Affleck Daredevil. So what do you make of that?
Maybe
there was nothing else associated with this post other than the fact that Deborah Ann Woll, Karen fucking Page, posted a picture of the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie.
But she wasn't.
And the internet went.
Clearly, she was not in that movie. So,
no.
My question...
She was like 12 when that movie came out.
So, my question, just me being me, she's doing the same thing that all these other people did. She's posting this tease because it is a Marvel. We are getting a cinematic multiverse. We are going to need a Daredevil, and I'm just very curious if this is just kind of like, hey, look at this, or if it's, hey, we are getting a Daredevil movie, and she's going to be in it. I don't know. I have reservations because when it comes to Daredevil, I'm apprehensive about anything Daredevil.
I was until the 3 seasons of the show, and that show was easily the best part of the Netflix verse.
Yes, but that's what makes me apprehensive.
You had fucking ninjas, you had the Hand, you had all the story, you had the freaking Born Again storyline.
You had this. You had that one single continuous shot fight scene with Charlie Cox in the hallway in season 1 with all those guys, and it's,
dude, every season had one of those.
And that one in season 1 is still one of my favorite things that Netflix has ever put on film.
Yeah,
like it's just.
Have you seen season 2's version of that?
I got halfway through season 2, right until when he was Stick was training him. Right, that's his name, Stick. Am I making that up?
Yeah,
and then Elektra had just showed up, and then I was like, man, and that's when Jessica...
I think you did then. I think it was the one where you had to fight the biker gang from the top of the building down the stairs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, fuck, yeah. Yes. Oh, so good. But
incredible.
I still think the first one in the first season, because you can see him getting tired and getting winded, and you can see like his fighting becomes sloppier and everything else, and it's just, I don't know, I just feel like...
And he just wants to save that fucking kid.
Right, and it's like, it's different because at that point, like, he wasn't the Daredevil character, he was just, you know, I forgot his name. Oh my god, what's Daredevil's real name?
Matt Murdock.
Matt Murdock, Jesus Christ. I was going to keep calling him Charlie Cox, but that's... So, he was just Matt Murdock trying to survive to make a difference, and that's what made that scene so fucking dope. And you don't see that in a lot of comic book or action movies. I think that's what set Daredevil apart. It was raw, it was gritty, it was real. Like, Captain America can clearly hang on a building and hold a fucking helicopter between them, but Daredevil's tired. Like, he needs a break. He's just a lawyer. He's a blind lawyer. Can my man get a nap? But that's...
what do you think this means, though? Do you think this means we're getting a Daredevil movie starring the Netflix cast, or do you think we're getting a season 4 on Disney Plus or something?
I think that it might be shit. I think it could be a combination of both. I think we are 100% going to get Daredevil in the MCU. I think that we might even get an appearance.
Sure.
Charlie Cox. We're going to get Vincent D'Onofrio. We're going to have to happen because they are two good actors, but characters that had solidified themselves outside of the MCU already. Just like it's going to be really hard to make a new Blade movie because
technically the Netflix verse is in the MCU.
That's why I'm saying, like, I don't want them to recast a Daredevil because Ben Affleck is technically Daredevil as well. So if they're going to do it Charlie Cox. But I think that the Daredevil story is told better over a long arcing series as opposed to a TV show.
As opposed to a movie,
as opposed to a movie. I think that it plays better, and that's why it was good on Netflix, and the movie was terrible. Yeah. Because the thing that makes Matt Murdock so good is he has the court cases, he goes through the lawyer trial, he finds the bad guys, he seeks out, he does that kind of stuff. And it's
you're telling me you didn't like Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner flirt fighting in a park on a seesaw?
Bro, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm one of like 7 people who legit likes Daredevil because Colin Farrell. And dude, when he pulls off his beanie and he rubs his forehead, he's like, bullseye. I'm like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen, but I am 100% on board with this, bro. I love Joey Pants just lighting a match and throwing it. And Daredevil had enough time, the wherewithal to kill all these people and then put his Daredevil logo in alcohol while blind in perfect writing.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
It makes sense. God, that fucking movie is terrible. But dude, no. So I think that it'd be better told as a Disney Plus show because we've seen that, like,
I agree.
Falcon and Winter Soldier, WandaVision, those kind of stories should be drawn out. And I think that's the best way to do it. And I'm going to ramble off here again because I always do this. But I started watching Lord of the Rings last night, the Fellowship of the Ring, the extended edition.
Oh yeah.
Fucking fantastic. But I cannot wait.
How good is that 4K master?
It blew me away. Like, it made the experience. I started the movie at 10:30 and it was like 1 o'clock. I'm like, I gotta go to bed, but I couldn't stop watching it because it was just so pretty.
Yeah.
But
that's your whole night right there.
Dude, that's my whole. That's your whole
4 fucking hours.
It's your whole fucking weekend. But what I think though is that those stories like that, and even Harry Potter, should be back and retold as a series because you can get so into detail. Because watching Lord of the Rings, how long it took. It was almost 2 hours into the movie before they're even getting chased by anything. You know, it's all this slow buildup. And I think that that's what you need for Daredevil. You need to have the court cases. You need to have the training. You need to have...
100%.
And you need to have that. And if you get a story or a movie, we're going to get the Ben Affleck or the Marvel verse that we get now, like the Captain Marvel type. Or we're just going to tell you this quick kind of half-assed story to bring it in. No, I want... Daredevil. Same with Punisher. I want a slow Punisher just going out there.
My favorite part of season 2 was the Punisher trial. I mean, no bullshit. Not any of the stuff with the ninjas, not any of the fights between Daredevil and Mike Magnon, not any of that shit. My favorite part was the Punisher trial, like the 3 episodes that focused on that.
And the Punisher is such a great story, and it breaks my heart that a bunch of white racist pieces of shit take his logo and use it as like their tattoos because the Punisher would kill those people, and that's what's funny. Like, they don't even understand it.
Without hesitation, he would.
He would shoot them at a stoplight just because he doesn't like them.
Yep.
But what's funny is that the Punisher movie with Tom Jane and John Travolta, in my opinion, is one of early Marvel's, just like the first Blade movie. Those movies are fantastic.
Yep.
If they were to release that story of Tom Jane and John Travolta and did that movie now, it would be too CGI, it would be over the top, it would be like Punisher Warzone. But what made that movie so well was that it was fucking grounded, and it worked as that movie because you were just telling this one story of his redemption. You're not trying to go through like you did in the Daredevil with Ben Affleck, and all of a sudden you've got 4 different bad guys, and you've got this. Shit, dude, you're trying to give me Spider-Man 3, and I just want Spider-Man. Like, let's just get there first. So,
wasn't Thomas Jane in a season of Arrested Development where he was pretending to be a homeless guy for a role?
Yes, I'm 92% sure he was, because wasn't he living with, like, and Tobias Funke found him, and
something like what's her name found him? Tobias's wife in the show, I forgot her name.
Portia de Rossi.
Yeah, her character, and they had a thing, and he wasn't a character. He played himself, Thomas Jane.
Yeah, he played, and he was the one, and he was like building houses and all that kind of stuff. Yep.
Yeah.
You're fucking right. But dude, he was. And like someone like him gets overlooked because he was the perfect epitome of that Punisher. Like, he played that character so well. And then when John Bernthal came in and played it on Netflix, he took everything that Thomas Jane did and then took his character from The Walking Dead and made a perfect Punisher for, you know, the late 2000s. So, and it worked on a TV series, and that's what they need to do. So if we're doing this Daredevil thing, if we're gonna have, you know, if we're gonna get Ben Affleck in a Daredevil costume who pops up in the Spider-Man movie, or we're gonna get Charlie Cox as the attorney, and she's
better be Charlie Cox,
right?
I don't want to see fucking Affleck as Daredevil.
Exactly, I do not, and that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that it's their way to kind of do that, and I'll take that as nothing more of her just putting it out there to get talking, to get more interest in what's going on, honestly, and to have us spend 20 minutes talking about it because. Yeah, I mean, good for her. I hope we get something.
Good on
from
you,
it.
Deborah Ann Woll. You did exactly what we did exactly what you wanted us to do. Also, will you go out with me?
I hope, and I know that we talk about this a lot, and I think it's going to kind of lead us into our next thing, but I'm hoping that going forward, we are going to continue to see people cast and stories that are told that show a massive amount of diversity in what America and what people are today. So I think that if we're going to get a Punisher, does the Punisher need to be a white guy who has trauma? No, it doesn't have to be. Does it? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that we're going to start seeing more of these changes, and we're going to see more inclusivity with all this stuff, and that's what I like, and that's where with the next thing that we're talking about that we're going to bring up here in a second, with the Captain Marvel coming up, the Miss Marvel coming up for the MCU show. Like, I'm stoked about that because of the diversity that we're getting and the fact that representation matters for everybody inside of this show, and the costume that we're seeing and how well they're taking it. So I hope that if we do get Daredevil, or if we do get these more MCU shows like Punisher and stuff, that they start including more diversity. Because I will tell you right now, Vincent D'Onofrio is a fucking fantastic Kingpin, but nobody can take it away from Michael Clark Duncan, who is a fucking acting god, and the fact that he's gone too soon is a tragedy, because I would pay money today to go sit in a theater to watch him come back as Kingpin. Like that, I mean, I would.
Yeah,
and Marvel took that chance by casting this guy, and so many people fucking hated it, but when you see him standing there in his tank top and the rain's coming down,
just
he's fighting Daredevil.
Presence.
Even when he takes the cane and breaks his knees and drops fucking Kingpin down to his knees, he's still this beast of a man. And they took a chance.
Yeah.
And that was, to me, what made that movie badass. So I hope that we're seeing more of this going forward with Daredevil. Make them TV shows, put stuff in there, invest more money, and tell these fucking stories. That's what I want.
You know what was funny? What's funny is when they first announced that they were making an Iron Fist show and they were casting Finn Jones, people were like, well, you know, why does Iron Fist need to be white? I mean, this is a kung fu show. It should be an Asian guy. And a lot of people at the time were like, we need to make sure Louis Tan becomes Iron Fist, becomes Danny Rand, and there was like a petition started. But you know what? After seeing Mortal Kombat, no fucking way.
No.
I don't want Louis Tan cast in anything.
No, dude,
he can stand in the back and look pretty, and that's it.
Right? And again, there's a fine line between casting people just to make sure that we have representation and casting people who can act. And again, there's a fine line. And don't take anything away from him as a name and the other stuff that he's acted in. But he was the weakest link in Mortal Kombat. Loved Mortal Kombat.
Which you did see, right?
Oh my god, yes, dude.
You know which fatality I'm talking about now?
The one with the hat?
The one with the fucking hat.
Is that where he throws the hat in and rides her like a surfboard and cuts her in half?
And cuts her in half from head to crotch.
Yeah, dude. I was like, oh my god. Oh my god.
Yep.
But I have no idea what Cole's powers are. I have no idea what his stuff is. I thought
that fucking goofy ass looking body armor he got.
Every time he got hit, it just turned red. And then I was like, okay, are these like the gauntlets from Batman where he can return the power? But no, it just
or Black Panther suit.
Right. And then he had the spear that was Scorpion, so I was like, oh shit, they're gonna turn him into like a new age Scorpion or something. But then Scorpion showed up and I was like,
but they didn't.
Why is he even cast? Just make him Liu Kang. That doesn't make any sense. But, you know, I'm like a bitch about that.
So what'd you think of his fine acting in the scene in the beginning where he goes, it's snowing?
Dude, we talked about that. And we were sitting on the couch and me and my wife were watching it. And he says that and she looks at me, she goes, nobody can act in this movie. Like, nobody. Sonya Blade can't act. Kano. I would pay to see a Kano movie. Like, I'll go see Kano because Kano...
Dude, Kano was fucking fantastic.
He knew what he was doing. Like, he knew what kind of movie it was. So he's just having a fucking blast. And it was great. But, dude, it was just funny. You said that. And when that scene happened, man, my wife was like, nobody in this movie can act. Like, they are terrible. And I'm like, you don't pay for the acting. You pay for the blood and gore.
Yep.
But it was funny though because again, Mortal Kombat, this movie that we just saw was fun, dude. It's a more fucking Mortal Kombat movie.
It was.
But I was blown away.
I wouldn't have been mad paying to see it in the theater.
Right. And I have a theory about what we're about something on this. So I'm gonna roll around here. It made me excited to think that we had a Mortal Kombat movie that came out in the 90s, which is about a tournament and Asian people fighting ninjas and stuff, and there was one Asian man cast in the movie. And now we have another Mortal Kombat and there's no white people in the movie at all. And that's what I think that's what.
Well, I mean, you have Sonya and Kano, but
right,
I know what you mean.
But Kano's Australian.
That should
it doesn't
be Asian
count.
are Asian.
Yeah, he's Australian, so he's not really a white guy. I don't think. I don't know if that counts. But I mean,
what are you talking about? He's Australian. He's like the factory that made white people.
That's where criminals came from, correct? Guys,
well,
I'm sorry if you're in Australia. We're just
penal
fucking
colony
with you.
for Great Britain.
Yeah, just fucking with you. I have plenty of Australian friends. Dude, I made the mistake one time when I first met these friends of ours who are from Australia. I didn't know them. One of our neighbors was like, hey, go ask him what city he's from in New Zealand. And I was like, hey, man, I heard you from New Zealand. He goes, what the fuck? And I was like, oh, shit, my bad. I'm sorry, I'm not. Don't ever do that. Apparently, you don't do that. That's terrible. But dude, it's just crazy to think that we came full circle with that. Now with Mortal Kombat, the new one, the great. So what do you think? Because I texted you this for Johnny Cage. So I know who I think would be the perfect Johnny Cage.
Well, after what you told me what your pick is, I can't unsee that. So
right, and I'm hoping that
okay. So prior to you telling me who you wanted, I hadn't fan cast that role at all. I was just like, oh, they're gonna have Johnny Cage in the next one, and then I saw on Twitter people like, hey, Ryan Reynolds, you should be Johnny Cage, and I was like, all right. So I never really gave any thought to who I would cast, and then you said who you wanted to play, and I can't not see him in this role now.
And so for me, I would pick The Miz from WWE. And he is way better in this part than Ryan Reynolds would be. And I told you because Ryan Reynolds...
He is Johnny Cage. He's essentially the WWE Johnny Cage.
Thank you. It's 100% what he is. Johnny Cage needs to be a person who doesn't realize that his fight scenes in a movie aren't real. So he thinks that he's so much better than he is. That he's the kind of person who he is... Johnny Cage to me is like Kurt Russell in Big Trouble in Little China. Like, he's the sidekick. Like, you're not the hero. You get knocked out through half the movie. You're just there. And that's who Johnny Cage is. He doesn't realize that he's not the main guy. And Ryan Reynolds has very, very, very well self-depreciating comedy where he can talk about himself and all that kind of stuff. And he just couldn't pull that off. But you get someone like The Miz, dude, that is the best casting I think you can have, would be The Miz as Johnny Cage. He knows how to fight. He wouldn't even have to act. I mean, look at the fucking Marine. How long did he pin his career off of? I'm the Marine. Really? And it's just like, to me, I think that would be perfect casting. I'm going to start a petition, Miz for Cage, because I can't see. Once I thought of that, I can't unsee it.
Hey, if you're going to start that petition, you also need to add to that petition that there has to be at least one cameo from Mizdow.
Oh, he has to be a stunt double in the movie.
He has to be a stunt double. Yup.
We are casting.
He has to be Johnny Cage's stunt double.
This is fantastic. I love it. Anyway, though, but Mortal Kombat, good movie. I like it. The actors in there were great, and this is where I believe that you take someone like John Cho, and you could pretty much replace all of Chris Pratt's movies with John Cho, and they'll be just as good, if not better.
Yeah.
Because that man can act, and he's funny as shit, and and just like oh my god, Kal Penn, for instance. Like, you look at Kal Penn and you look at John Cho from Harold and Kumar, and that's how they got looked at. But Kal Penn is I think he has a PhD.
I fucking love those movies.
He has a PhD. He worked in the Obama administration, and he's a super smart guy and a hell of an actor. But he got pegged as fucking Kumar and Van Wilder's little friend, and that's kind of. And it's like, dude, that's really shitty. And I went through and I tried watching Van Wilder because, everybody loved Van Wilder. Movie's fucking terrible, by the way. Like, I don't know how we like that movie. But I'm watching Kal Penn play this part in the movie, and I'm like, dude, that's got to be so self-depreciating for him to have to do this accent and act like this in this fucking movie just because, it plays for parts and it's funny. I want to dine at one pink taco stand. It's like, bro, like, how do you not have respect for yourself to be like, I don't want to do that? And it just... So it's just so I didn't even finish the movie because it sucked.
Because money talks, man.
Oh fuck it. So I'm not mad about it, but it's like hey man, these people shouldn't be pigeonholed into what they are. They should be cast in different stuff, and you should do it. And I just don't like Chris Pratt. But long story short, back. I'm really excited.
That would require an entire cultural shift, though, and we are clearly not there.
We're not even close, bro. But whatever, man. I like to live in my little happy bubble. But. Next topic. This is what makes me happy is with these set photos that we saw for Miss Marvel, and I want to know.
How good is that costume, dude?
Right, and just seeing her in the costume, I was blown away because, dude, it is so well done, and it looks just from the fucking still shot. I'm excited for the show and for the costume.
Everybody was like, "Oh, she's way too young to play Kamala," but seeing her in costume, nah, she's perfect.
Right. I mean,
she is absolutely perfect.
How old is she?
I have no idea. She's definitely on the youngish side, but, I could definitely 100% see her standing next to Tom Holland's Spider-Man and not think twice about it.
Right. Well, God dang it. Excuse me. Excuse me. Thank you. With her, they casting her as the Miss Marvel from, dude, it's so dusty, from the Avengers game. Because that's what it looks like to me.
Well, I mean, that's her costume from the comics, so...
Well, I mean, I'm curious
it's comics accurate.
Well, that's why I'm saying, like, the storyline, because the Kamala we had in the game was younger and that kind of stuff. So I'm curious if they're going to kind of run a story arc like that from the game with this, or if we're going to get like a new story that we don't know.
It'll probably end up being a very loose retelling of the first arc in the comics, so like how she gets her powers. Because in the comics, she's a super fan of the Avengers. Her hero is Captain Marvel, and she writes fucking fan fiction online. So it'll probably be that she gets her powers. In the comics, she's an Inhuman,
right? And
the Inhumans didn't do super well in the MCU with the show and all that. So I'm not really sure what they're gonna do with how she gets her powers in this show. Maybe they'll try to bring the Inhumans back. Maybe it's another reason. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure it'll be a loose retelling of that. She's a 16-year-old kid in high school. She gets these powers. She becomes the hero of Jersey City, has to hide it from her parents, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Which is perfect.
I'm all for it. I'm really excited for it. And I like the representation. It's not something I'm going to sit down and watch with my kids. I really, really like it. I think that it's going to be another good show. And again, I like the fact that Disney, of all places, is taking these risks with things. And which is dope with Marvel, because Marvel and comic books for a long time have always been looked at as, it's, the white people, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman. That's the way it's always been. So for them to take these chances,
the Great White Hope,
exactly, and which again, it's fine. Things were at a different time when things were done, and everybody adapts and changes. So it's very weird to see people who are so reluctant to change now, because I'm pretty sure if you took all these people and gave them an iPhone 1 and took away their iPhone 12, they'd be pissed, because things change and you have to adapt to it. So so I think this is going to be great, and Disney has shown that they can run great TV shows and tell great stories and get everybody invested, and they do it so well that it's awesome. And I saw a video on TikTok the other day, and I'm on the soapbox again, but it was a mother saying she was at Disney World, right? And Disney World now has like inclusivity, so they have like transgender people working and everything. And it was a lady, and her son, was wearing a dress, had the hair done and everything. And her son, or her daughter, I guess, saw a Disneyland worker who's a transgender person as well, and she was recording this, and the little boy, or her daughter, I'm not sure if I'm using the right pronouns, I apologize, was like getting super emotional because never seen anybody who looked like her before in Disney World. And it's just really cool that Disney is allowing people to do that, to show that, hey man, everybody's different. We want everybody to be comfortable here. It's the happiest place on earth.
As they should. I mean, if they're gonna be the barometer of quote family friendly in American culture, then what better company to do it than them?
Right. And I think that Disney knows where they want to go and where we're trying to go. And Disney, they did this so well with Falcon and Winter Soldier. Like, they're calling out issues that are there today that other people are afraid to talk about, or it's becoming politicized, or whatever the fuck people want to do. And that's why they had very powerful scenes in Falcon and Winter Soldier, where it literally seems like it was written by a fucking algorithm when you look at it with everything that was in there. But it's stuff that they had to, like when they had Sam getting stopped by the cops, in town, or, I'm not the black Captain America, I'm Captain America, and it just goes, and people are so mad about that, but that's what Disney needs to do, and a company like Disney putting that foot forward and doing that is great. And Marvel, again, has done this. They did this with Blade, when they put out Blade as a black superhero. You know what I mean? Like, nobody fucking did that. And Wesley Snipes. And Wesley Snipes was the original to do that, and that movie today holds up. Fucking Wesley Snipes, Steven Dorff, you've got Donald Logue, you've got fucking all that. It's just good. It works. And you look at
Steven Dorff,
dude, it's so good. You look at Blade too. I mean, in Marvel always told these stories with diversity. So I'm glad we're getting it on a big screen, and I'm glad that people can look at Disney and look at stuff and see themselves in this, man. Like, your kids can look at the Shang-Chi trailer and be super excited, or there's Mulan, or there's Moana, or there's the Princess and there's all this shit out there for everybody. And dude, it's just cool to see a company like Disney doing this, and I'm excited for Miss Marvel, because I love the stories that they're telling, because they're fucking awesome, and it's fun to sit down and watch them.
And clearly she's gonna be, when they release the future slate of Marvel movies and they announce the logo for the Marvels, Captain Marvel 2, very, very clearly that's Miss Marvel's logo. So her, Monica Rambeau, and Carol are gonna be in one movie, and that's going to be the most exciting fucking thing. So here's, say what you will about the first say what you will about the first Captain Marvel movie. Some loved it, some hate it. Regardless, movie aside, Carol Danvers is one of my favorite comic characters of all time. Period. ever since she was the first Ms. Marvel. So to see all these incarnations of Captain/Ms. Marvel on screen is going to be fan-fucking-tastic.
Yeah. Well, do you think she's going to have anything to do with Captain Marvel 2 because it's called the Marvels?
Oh, she absolutely will. I mean, if you look at the logo, that the S at the end of the Marvels is
her logo.
Is Kamala's logo. Yeah.
So,
and
cool.
I know Monica's going to be in it because that's been teased to the moon and back. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're gonna have 3 Marvel characters. We're gonna have Captain Marvel, probably Photon, and Kamala.
Yeah,
that's fucking great.
I love it, dude. And now here's a question: do you think that we would see all of this stuff if COVID wouldn't have happened?
Well, I know for a fact that if COVID hadn't happened, we'd already be knee deep in Phase 4. I mean, because Black Widow and the second Doctor Strange movie should have been out already.
Well, I mean, like,
Spider-Man as well.
Well, do you think that Disney would have slowed down and taken their time with like Falcon and Winter Soldier and all these things that we're seeing now if it wasn't for COVID? Or do you think that these would have been like movies that were rushed out and we just would have been like, God, here's another Marvel movie, and we'd have been burnt out?
I think things would have been the same as we're seeing now because these things clearly have been planned years ago.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
not years ago, but at least since the executives first had the idea for Disney Plus and what the potential for a Disney Plus was, 2 years ago or so.
Yeah.
I think they've at least been in the pipeline since then. So maybe we would have seen a different release schedule, but I think all these things were already in the works.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because like I'm curious when you have a character like Loki, for instance, or Tom Hiddleston, like Falcon and Winter Soldier. I'm just curious if that would have been something that they would have made a movie because they were filming those during COVID, or if they would have kept it like they did. Because, you know, like WandaVision changed because of COVID and they had to change the ending and casting and stuff like that. So that's where I'm just curious if we would have been getting this stuff that we're getting the way we are. You know, so I mean, it's just one of those things.
I think we would have. I think we still would have because they're putting all their eggs into Disney Plus. Yeah. So I think we still would have.
I think you're right. I just hope that over the next few years Disney sticks to this and doesn't change it because I don't want Disney Plus to become that place where you go just to watch old Disney movies, which is what it was the first year I had it. Because if that's what it's going to be, then I just whatever, I'll get rid of it. Because I bought 3 years up front for Disney Plus, so next year it's going to or whenever. It's like, do I need to re-up? What do you guys have coming for me?
I'm gonna,
So we'll see.
I'm gonna shift around the next couple of topics real quick because we spent so much time on the diversity and inclusivity that Disney's doing that. Before we get into Andrew Garfield lying to our faces, I want to bring up, this isn't even Disney, but Hannah John Kamen, who played Ghost in Ant-Man and the Wasp, has been cast as Red Sonja. So a couple of things. Number one, I didn't know they were making a Red Sonja movie, so awesome.
Yeah.
Because that's a really cool character. And, you know, Bridget Nielsen movie aside from the 80s, it's a really cool comic from Dynamite Comics right now that I really enjoy. Number two, Hannah John Kamen is not white. So we are going to have a not white Red Sonja. And somewhere right now, a bunch of conservative heads are blowing up because, another white character being forced diversity and all that shit. So what do you think of Hannah John Kamen cast as a Red Sonja?
I'm fine with that. Red Sonja, she's
fucking awesome,
right? And again, like, people know what they're doing when they're casting people, and I have no there are certain things that should not be held sacred and should not be treated with such high regard. And
agreed.
I think
skin color is one of them.
Right, and definitely fucking casting of movies. Like, I'm sorry, man, but like
fake characters,
right. It doesn't make any sense to me to hold on and Red Sonja, Bridget Nielsen, great, fucking fantastic. But it's time to retell those stories.
Was it though?
It's not. It's really not. Just like a Highlander.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, like a Highlander is not fucking good. Not at all. It's fucking. It's a canon movie.
But we love it.
Right, and. So, but if they were to remake a Highlander tomorrow, I could probably go check it out because why the fuck not? But again, you should not hold this stuff sacred. Bring in these people, change your story, change your casting because, I mean, it's fucking Red Sonja. It's not like it's... I don't know. It feels that this stuff should not be a huge, like, oh my God, they're casting a non-white person for this white role. Bro, it's a fucking...
it shouldn't be news. It should be non-news.
Exactly. Like... It's a movie, dude. So I'm all for it, and I think that we need to be seeing more of this. And I know that again, I'm going to change a note here also as well back to the inclusivity. Goes with Superman as well. which I don't understand. Like, who gives a shit? Like, I'm not sitting here with like Red Sonja tattoos being like, oh, this is Red Sonja. That's it. It's like, calm down, dude.
Yeah.
You know, like there are certain things that just let go. Like, there will always be Gandalf the Grey, and Ian McKellen will always be known as Gandalf. He is great as Magneto, but he will always be Gandalf. And they're going to have a hard time recasting a Gandalf for the Amazon series. But it doesn't mean that they should not recast. It doesn't mean that they shouldn't redo it. It doesn't mean that they can't go forward. Look at Jack Nicholson as the Joker, and look at Heath Ledger as the Joker.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, people. Dude, I love it. I love it. Am I going to see the movie? Probably not. Do I? I mean, is it like...
Yeah, same. I probably won't, but I mean, it's cool. It's going to be one of those movies where when it's $9.99 on iTunes in 4K, I will fucking buy it.
Right.
And then I'll watch it.
Dude, absolutely. And again, I just hope that we see more.
You brought up the Black Superman.
Yes.
You brought up the Black Superman thing. Let's jump into that before we talk about
one more question about Red Sonja, though.
Yeah.
So... Who's the male? I mean, who do you get to replace Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Well, I assume they're basing this off the comic, so there's not going to be an Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Well, that's not fair.
And if you're going to recast Arnold Schwarzenegger, bring back fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger. Who cares? CGI the crap out of him.
Right. I mean, we do it all the time.
Yeah, do it all the time.
But yeah.
No, this is going to be based off the comic. There's not going to be a fucking Arnold in it.
Good. Okay, where were you going?
Let's talk about the Black Superman movie.
Let's do it.
I hate calling it Black Superman, but we don't have a title for it yet. And unfortunately, we're still in a place where when you say Superman, it's going to be Clark Kent, so we have to differentiate somehow.
Yeah.
But, the creators of this movie, or this rumored movie, I guess, I don't really know yet if it exists or not, are pretty much doing everything they can to say, look, we promise you we're not making Clark Kent black. We promise you this is another Earth. Everyone calm the fuck down. They're doing everything they can to do that, to, get that out there. And yet they're still going on about this.
See,
I don't know.
It's just...
They're looking for a director now. It's going to be in the next, quote, phase of the DC movies. It's going to be another Earth, another reality. It's very clearly going off of that storyline with from the comics where, you have the Black Superman and he's the president.
Yeah.
Which I love because it's going to piss so many people off. It's great. It's so fantastic. But who do you think should direct it? Ryan Coogler is a big name right now because he did so well with Black Panther. He did great with Creed. He can clearly make a good movie. Who do you think they should go for? You think Coogler just should do it?
You know what? Honestly, if I had to pick, I would say Regina King.
As the director?
Yeah.
Very interesting.
She did One Night in Miami on Amazon, got great praise, was nominated for an Oscar. She was fantastic in Watchmen, so I feel like she would know how to handle comic book stories. She's a great director, and she has great presence. I mean, if you're going to do it and you want to make a staple, then go for it. Why not hire yourself a black female director? Right, who is very good. Who should be I think that if you're going to do this, try to get yourself a different actor. Somebody, put out a casting.
Everybody's saying Michael B. Jordan. He's too big a name, I think. Right. It should be an unknown.
He's Killmonger. Like, it's going to be really hard to see.
It's going to be Terry Crews, watch.
Oh, God. It's going to be really hard to see, like, fucking Killmonger as fucking Superman, you know? I think there's a ton of good actors out there who can do this, but it also depends on the story that you want to do. It's a shame that there's so much falling out and all this kind of stuff because I could have seen Ray Fisher playing this part. Honestly, I think that he would be good in this role. I think that he has the build for it. I think that he could probably pull it off pretty well. But you get the whole Warner Brothers stuff. You got to miss Cyborg, who we're probably not going to get again, which sucks. But so
and more shit coming out on Whedon now.
Yeah, dude, that fucking prick. So
that guy's such a hunk of shit. Yeah, man.
Dude. I mean, hearing what he did threatening Gal Gadot's career and stuff, dude. Man,
it's hard. It's actually it's like when I go back and I think to myself, I'm really in the mood to watch The Usual Suspects today, but I just fucking can't because Kevin Spacey ended up being such a big piece of shit.
Yeah.
It's like now if I want to go back and watch Buffy, I have to think about Joss Whedon being a horrible human being.
Yep, because that's what he is. He's a horrible, horrible piece of shit.
And I hate him and other people for ruining these things that I love.
Yeah. It's hard to watch things now that like they've had a part of and just be like, okay, this is okay.
Yeah.
But, what a fuck him, dude. Especially Kevin Spacey, you piece of shit. Fucking prick.
Especially who? I didn't hear that.
Oh, I said Kevin Spacey, fucking prick.
Oh, Kevin Spacey. Yeah, for sure.
He just needs to stay
I can't even right now.
I'm really stoked for the new Superman story that we're gonna get. I think they're going to do good. I'm not worried about it. And I think that this is going to be part of what we're going to see after Flashpoint with alternate Earths and different realities and stuff like that.
Correct. Yep.
And again, do it. Like, why not? Put it on HBO Max. Tell these fucking stories. I'm all for it. On the other hand, though, I'm upset because I still think Henry Cavill is amazing as Clark Kent and Superman. I would love to get a Man of Steel 2. I would love to see him inside the suit again, telling his story. But he kind of
could. We very well could. Who knows?
Yeah, but I mean, to me, Henry Cavill is like the Alex Smith of fucking Superman. Like, he's great, and he just didn't have good directors or good program around him to get him to where he needed to be, and he's just going to get overlooked, and that sucks because I thought his Superman was fantastic.
Because he looks like Superman.
He does. Like, he does look like Superman. Yep. So, dude, I'm stoked. I'm a little curious about J.J. Abrams coming in from what I heard with him producing, because J.J. Abrams, he's great. Yeah. He knows the sci-fi stuff, but, like, let's get him out. Let's bring in new people and tell new stories. He's already told us Star Wars. He's already told us Star Trek.
Yeah.
Let him go. Stick him to something else. Give us a new vision.
And I don't want to watch a Superman movie where there's lens flare everywhere. I like lens flare, but only to a degree.
Absolutely, bro.
Let's move on to the next thing. I know I already brought this up twice. So Andrew Garfield was doing an interview, and they asked him about, are you going to appear in the next Spider-Man movie? And I quote, "They might be doing something, but I ain't got a call. I did not get a call. Listen, I would have gotten a call by now. That's all I'm saying." End quote. And I'm going to say, Andrew Garfield, shame on you for going on air and lying straight to us, because I know you're fucking in the movie.
Yeah, you are a fucking liar.
And I know, we've brought it up before, Marvel lies, as they should. You know, I don't want everything ruined. I want to be thrown off, and I want to be like, woo, when Andrew Garfield shows up. I mean, whatever, when him and Toby fly in. I just chuckle because, number one, he's British as fuck, and he said, but I ain't got a call. So that's already funny to me.
Yeah, I ain't got a call. Okay.
Imagine him saying that in his native accent, and that's funny.
It makes me smile. It does.
Yeah. And number two, you're lying, Mr. Garfield. I know you're fucking lying.
Right. You're lying. Marvel is going to do this. They're going to fucking lie. They're going to hide this.
Of course.
Unless you're Tom Holland or Paul Bettany, you're not going to come out and ruin anything. Because didn't Paul Bettany sit there for a long time, like the cameo is going to blow people's minds. I've wanted to work with this guy my whole career. It was himself. Like, really, you prick. So, dude,
Paul Bettany ruined the shit. Yeah. Paul Bettany spoiled it, and I'm like, man, come on.
Yeah, you dick. Dude, I think that he'll be on there. I think that he'll show up. He has nothing else going on. We know that Tobey Maguire's going to be there. Everybody's going to have to be there because I think this is going to be kind of like the swan song passing of the torch from the last phase of the Marvel people to the new phase. I think that that's kind of what we're going to get, and one way to bring them all in. That's why we're going to get Michael Keaton as Batman. That's why we've seen set photos of Wayne Manor from 1989 when fucking they filmed the Batman movie.
I'm so excited.
So like, it's going to happen, and I think that we're finally gonna get, like we did with the Star Wars movies, the passing of the lightsaber, the passing of the torch, because that's what Star Wars did to establish themselves. That's what Disney has. Disney likes to do that. Disney is very much like the passing of the torch to the next generation, so this will be their way to be like, look, man, Tom Holland's our Spider-Man, and this is who it is going forward. Let's finally get this goodbye and move on.
Yeah. It's funny that you brought up Wayne Manor, because anytime, and I don't know why, anytime I see the 1989 Wayne Manor, this dialogue exchange plays in my head. Okay?
Yeah.
All I hear is, look at this one, King of the Wicker People. I mean, come on, where did he get this from? Japan. Well, how do you know that? Because I got it in Japan.
Dude, Michael Keaton as his Batman, as his Bruce Wayne with his deliveries, because he was a comedic actor.
Yep.
Look at Mr. Mom. Like, Mr. Mom, to this day, and Multiplicity, too. But, dude, Mr. Mom, where he goes out to the strip club with all the women, and he gets out, and he goes, here, I think this is for you. And she goes, what's that? And he goes, the dancer's phone number, he stuffed it in my shirt. Dude, it's just fucking fantastic the way he does it. So, his humor is great, so I'm excited that we're going to get him as Batman, but I hope that we get that Michael Keaton wit, because he was great as fucking Vulture in the Spider-Man version.
Oh, yeah.
So, and he had that humor as a dad, and I just think that he can still do it.
Yeah, I just finished watching that one too in my watch through, and he's so fucking great in it.
He is.
He can go from that part when he's driving them to the homecoming dance, and he knows, and Tom Holland knows that they know who each other are. He was at the same time so likable, so humorous, and so fucking terrifying at the same time.
Right. It's cool to see Michael Keaton come back and get his due, and be able to do this again. So, and I think that we will finally get that passing of the torch. I think that's what we're going to get. You know, and if Andrew Garfield's not in this movie, but everybody else is, I'd be pissed if I'm Andrew Garfield. It's like, y'all Spider-Man for 2 movies. Y'all couldn't even get me in here? Like, really? Y'all brought...
Yeah, no, seriously. If say what you will about those 2 movies. I mean, not too many people like them. Whatever. But they existed.
Yeah.
And Andrew Garfield may not have been super believable as Peter Parker, but his Spider-Man was pretty goddamn accurate with his shit talking and his arrogance and everything like that. That's pretty. He was a great Spider-Man, just not a great Peter. And the movies weren't that great. He has to be a part of it. You can't have Jamie Foxx back as Electro. You can't have Alfred Molina back as Doc Ock and not have at least the tease of Tobey and Andrew. We've talked about this for like 6 episodes. Yeah. I mean, it's got to happen.
It's gonna happen, and. Or we're going to do what we did for WandaVision and get ourselves all overhyped and oversight, and nothing's going to happen. And we're going to be like, God damn it, we did it again.
Nothing's going to happen.
Do it again.
It's going to happen. I'm willing to bet very much on it. Yeah. It's going to happen.
Well, good for him. I hope he makes a comeback. I can't wait to see it. I'm hoping that it's done right. Dude, let's just make it happen. Let's just wait.
For sure.
Let's go. Let's go.
Now, we kind of flip-flopped a little bit on our topics. Excuse me, going back to the DC universe, we do have our casting now, official casting for the Green Lantern series. We have a Guy Gardner cast, and it's Finn Wittrock from American Horror Story. Now, did you watch American Horror Story?
I did like the first 2 seasons.
So did you ever get to see Finn Wittrock's character on the circus season?
Was he the
freak
guy,
show season?
He was the spoiled kid, right? Who like hired the clown.
Yeah, his name was like Dandy or something.
Yeah, like he was like that spoiled rich kid who like hired the clown and was kind of killing people. Yeah, okay, yeah. That was about as far as I got. I didn't finish that season.
So he's going to play Guy Gardner, which is perfect because Guy Gardner, I've said before, for those who don't know, is that one Green Lantern that just annoys the shit out of everybody because he's foul-mouthed, he's way too into himself. A lot of people are even like, how the hell is he able to wield the lantern ring to begin with? So Finn Wittrock is the perfect Guy Gardner, and I'm super excited to see him in that role. And I'm super excited that we're getting a lantern that's not Hal Jordan.
Yeah, and again, too, and it's a series, and I like this. I like that they're doing this because they're not trying to take a brand new character or retell the Hal Jordan series on film again, or trying to retell the same stuff. So, again, I like this. It's a new character, it's a new type of lantern, and it gives them the opportunity to tell a different type of story, so you don't have high hopes of a continuation.
And it's called the Green Lantern Corps, so we're getting many lanterns.
Yes. And I know, weren't they supposed to do a Green Lantern Corps movie?
But I think maybe the idea was tossed around, but I don't know how official it ever got.
So, but now so Greg Berlanti is going to be working on this series, and Greg Berlanti is phenomenal with telling TV series. He's done The Flash and Arrow and all of those.
Yeah, he's responsible for the entire Arrowverse, so for sure.
So he's very, very good, and he knows what he's doing, and he's kind of like DC's Kevin Feige. Except for TV. So I think that having him come into HBO and doing this series, casting the way they're casting, I think they have high hopes for Green Lantern, and I'm hoping that this is the...
as they should.
Yeah, and I'm hoping this is the process of HBO and DC taking a step back and slowing down and taking their time to tell these stories, not trying to be Marvel Phase 4 already.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Excuse me, I have something stuck in my throat and I'm coughing my lungs out here.
Dude, it's just dust and air, man. We're in a fucking severe drought in California, and it's fucking terrible.
I know.
It's all right, though.
Let's wrap this episode up with this next piece of news. Season 2 and 3 of Invincible on Amazon Prime have been confirmed, which, is the biggest piece of non-news news that we could have gotten because the show's a runaway success. And you can't tell 142 issues of the comic series in one season, obviously.
Right.
So, awesome news.
Great.
I still have not finished it, but I am going to because I waited. It was so good the first 3 episodes that I'm like, you know what? I have to wait so I can binge this. This is just one of those things where I can't wait to watch week after week. Yeah. So now that the first season is done, I'm going to complete it. Don't worry about spoiling it because I've read every issue of the comics, so I'm pretty sure I know what happens.
Dude, it is.
What did you think of the first season?
I was blown away. I haven't seen anything this hyper violent, this fucking gorish, vulgar, over the top, and it told such a great story. It reminds me of The Boys because it's very comic book, but it's not the same story that you know. The characters are different. The powers are, everything is different.
Right.
And there's 1.5 million characters. There's is it Al the Alien? Is that what his name was?
Alan the Alien,
Alan the
you
Alien.
have Invincible, Adam Eve, Duplicate.
Right, dude.
So great.
So great. And they have these characters who are just so over the top and outlandish, but it's funny, and the voice acting is fantastic. And you know, I text you, I was like, dude, I just saw this dope ass fight, and they brought back the Immortal, and now he's fighting Omni. Dude, I was so.
And they actually cast again. I hate that I have to keep bringing this up because it's such a big deal. It should be non-news. They're actually casting Asian actors as Asian characters in a fucking animation series.
Yeah. Dude,
You know, they could have easily cast Mark Grayson's character. They could have easily gone with anybody to play his voice, and no one would have cared or known. But you know, they got fucking Glenn from The Walking Dead. They got Sandra Oh to play his mom.
Yeah,
because they're Asian.
And they got
so cast an Asian character.
Right.
That's great.
And J.K. Simmons playing Omni-Man, the best voice to play Omni-Man. Dude, they got Jason Mantzoukas is in the show. I mean, they have a great voice cast of characters, and the voices actually fit the characters and bring them to life. And I cannot wait for season 2 and season 3 because it was one of those shows that was a surprise hit for me. I did not expect it to be like that. And it's cool because at the beginning of every episode where they show the title card that says Invincible, it gets bloodier and bloodier and bloodier every single episode.
Yup.
Oh, dude, you got to finish it.
Did I get you the first volume?
No.
Or did I tell you it was on Prime?
I think it's on Prime, but I don't have that one.
Okay. Yeah, Invincible. I didn't start reading right away. I ended up buying the first issue at a con, but I didn't start reading it right away. But I've read every issue of the comic, and it was one of those things where when the final issue launched, and I went to the comic shop in Concord, Flying Colors Comics and other fun stuff. It's a really cool place in Concord to pick up all your comic shit. Anyways, I went to pick up the final issue, and I got teary-eyed because this was ending. Well, that's how good of a story it was.
Well, you got. Is it Greg Nicotero who did this, or Robert Kirkman?
Robert Kirkman and Corey Walker as the artist, and also shit, I forgot the other artist, which is Ryan Otley.
Ryan Otley, okay. Yeah, so you got
Robert Kirkman, Ryan Otley, and Corey Walker,
and Robert Kirkman did The Walking Dead. This dude has credibility with what he's doing.
Yep, like The Walking Dead, Oblivion song,
right? And they're gonna give him free range to do this, and it's kind of cool to see this type of animation,
absolutely,
on Amazon. And this is the kind of content that I want to be streamed. This is the stuff that, like,
for sure,
this is what made my Amazon Prime membership worth it for that month, because I was able to watch Invincible because it was such a dope, underrated show, you know, and I love it, and it's so well done. If nobody's seen it, you have to go watch it. It's worth it. It tells a great story, you know, like there's teenagers and he's girlfriend and he has superpowers and secret identities and battling with your parents. It's just, dude, there's so much there, and the fight scenes, man, when Omni-Man crushing heads, it's fucking bananas. It's just, dude.
Now, what was... And I can't believe I don't know this, not to toot my own horn, but I don't know anything about this. Wasn't Seth Rogen attached to Invincible?
Yeah, he played he played Alan the Alien.
No, but he was attached in like an executive role, which I thought they were doing an Invincible movie, and then the show came out, but I don't think Seth Rogen as an executive has anything to do with the Amazon show, does he? Other than playing a character?
Maybe he just plays a character. He might be an executive producer on it. I'm not sure.
I'll have to look it up because I was confused. I thought it was going to be for an Invincible movie.
Oh, well.
And then I never heard anything about the movie. And then we got the show instead, which I'm happy about. So,
well, here you go right here. Bam. From February 2021, the Invincible movie is an adaptation of Robert Kirkman's original comics and is still very much alive and kicking. And it says that the Invincible live action movie will exist separate from Amazon's animated series, and that the movie and show can exist and complement each other.
Interesting. Okay, I'm wondering how they're going to do this in a 2-hour format.
Maybe they just tell like just one cool story. But I mean,
one arc or something.
So Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg are attached to the movie still.
Okay, you know who I want to play Adam Eve, and I know she's not really known for her acting per se.
Who?
But ever since I read this on Reddit, I can't ever. Kind of like The Miz as Johnny Cage. I just can't unsee her as Adam Eve anymore. I want to see Bella Thorne as Adam Eve.
Okay. That's way better than them probably going to cast like Amber Heard, so I'll take it.
Yeah, probably. So,
dude, I think
Bella Thorne's known for other things these days, but I could see her as an Adam Eve.
Dude, I just like it. It's kind of. I haven't watched The Boys season 2 yet, and I still need to do it. I'm slacking. I have so much like random shit that I'm watching. But dude, Invincible pulled me in. It hooked me, and I loved it. Everything down from the familiar voice acting. I'm a huge fan of Jason Mantzoukas. I love How Did This Get Made podcast. I have a Jason Mantzoukas shirt that I wear almost once a week.
Nice.
So to hear his voice and see him on like Big Mouth and to see him doing Invincible is awesome. Like, it's just really cool because, you know, he's somebody who likes Marvel comics and digs it. So I'm a huge fan of Invincible. I didn't think I would. A lot of animation doesn't pull me in like it used to, so it's kind of hit and miss, but this one drew me in and I was hooked from the get-go.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and just from the few episodes I've seen, and I cannot wait to binge it.
Yeah, you need to because you're just going to be like, what the fuck? Yeah, it's great.
I am gonna.
It's great. Well, dude, this has been a blast, brother. Hey, great time.
This has been a blast. That wraps it up for today. You know what? Let's switch things up this week, and you do your Twitter first.
No.
It'll be bad.
Dude, now I'm getting nervous. Oh, I'm nervous. Too much pressure. All right, guys, y'all can reach me on Twitter at BruceBain66. Holla at me.
And my Twitter at ToneZone81, and soon to come a Speak Geek Twitter whenever Josh makes it.
It'll be probably this weekend coming up. I got to take a trip for work, so I'll have some time so I can probably.
There's no rush.
Yeah, I can probably get it done this week while I'm traveling.
Yep. And hey, the group that did our theme song, not did our theme song, we used their song, Lost Years. He has a new album that just came out, and it's on iTunes. It's called, let me pull it up real quick. Every single one of his albums has like a theme to it. This one is like a Top Gun type synth album.
Cool.
Super cool looking. It's called, it's right here, Lost Years. It's called Wave Breach. So you can get it on Spotify, iTunes, all your favorite places. So
sweet.
Just a little shout out for that guy.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
And we will see you guys next time.
Later, Gators.
Later.